Boom. Hello.
That was loud. It's just
Let me put these headphones in. Actually, let me grab a bottle of water. It is 8:01. Happy Valentine's Day. I don't have any headphones in right now, but let me grab a bottle of water. And here we are. This is the NBA show. I have been a moron the last two shows. Can you hear me, Jackson?
yeah. I think you might be a little loud.
Huh?
I think you might be a little loud. I got you turned down like all the way.
Oh, dude, I had the auto adjust turned off.
There we go.
Do I sound better now?
You leave that off?
No, I usually leave it automatic.
Or I mean, yeah, you leave that on. Wow.
Should I turn it off? I just feel like if I have it off, you said I was just too loud.
Yeah, this sounds better.
Yeah.
Oh no, you do you. I've never wondered. I have it turned automatically off just because I don't know how it.
How
really
how high do you put it up?
I have it usually around 90 to 100.
Yeah, I had it still turned on, and it said it was at 100. I don't know. Should I turn it off and put it back at 90? Do you think that's better?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Man, yeah, okay, fuck it, yeah, because it's just automatically just. Either way, we got some stuff to talk to you boys about today. A lot of Mavericks news, including LaMarcus Aldridge could be coming back to the NBA.
Let's go.
Justin Holiday.
Hope everyone's enjoying their 2012 so far. We're about a month in.
What do you mean?
February 14th, 2012, baby. It's going to be a good year.
You talking about East Palestine and like all the shit?
What? No, I'm talking about it's LMA's got a tryout. It's 2012, baby.
Oh, I thought.
Are you talking end of world?
Yeah. That's what I got from you. I thought you were talking about all these UFO sightings, those goddamn commies, the Chinese and their balloons, and like. I thought you were going with a different angle right there. I didn't expect you.
Sports and politics to start off this February, this Valentine's Day.
All right, so we'll be talking today about there's a lot of stuff going around the Mavericks. I mean, not just like the news there, but like the Kyrie fit. We got to see Matisse Thybulle look like Matisse Thybulle. Okay, even a little Cam Reddish block against the glass.
Yep.
We talked about it yesterday, but then he obviously has a rise, and there is more NBA news to talk about. So let's get right into it. And I think we should just talk about Kyrie Irving. I forgot who was the report from, but there was a report yesterday that came out basically saying, I think it might have been Darvin Ham, basically said the problem with the Mavericks now is they're unpredictable. With Kyrie. You used to have to put so much energy to guard just Luka, that you didn't have the opportunity to, not that you didn't have the opportunity. You had the opportunity just to focus on Luka, knowing that if you shut out Luka, you were going to beat the Mavericks. Now with the Mavericks, if you try to shut down Luka, you're just going to let Kyrie run wild.
Yeah, or even worse, they're both going to run wild. I mean, like last night, Luka ends the third quarter, like the last 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, he was just because they were down. What was it? 26 points, I believe, was their max deficit. And
yeah, it wasn't close.
Luka's just Kyrie and Luka are out there, and everything's working, everything's clicking. The Mavs announcers are like, let's bring Luka out to start the fourth. He doesn't. Kyrie, the leading scorer in the fourth quarter. I mean, the man just. Like everyone says it, but it's one thing to watch it where it's like, okay, Kyrie has 9 through 3 quarters, and then next you go and you cook some dinner or whatever, and you come back, he's got 33. So it definitely elevates the Mavs to the next level.
Yeah, I definitely think so, and I don't think their team is entirely gutted. I do think this is a team that, like, look, Kyrie, he's the best superstar Luka has ever played with.
Yeah.
Hands down. And what it does, it opens up. But the other thing is this is a team that when Luka used to come off the floor, regardless of who was on this team, they would be terrible. But now with Kyrie here, Luka can sit and not have to worry about the team completely falling off the edge necessarily.
Yeah. I like, Kyrie, we've talked about playing off ball, and my one concern with the Dallas Mavericks, like outside of defense, just Luka concerns before they got Kyrie was when these guys aren't touching the ball for 5 straight possessions, they might not be able to knock down big time shots. And I think with Kyrie, that even though it might not sound logistically correct, I mean, the ball is moving, guys
No.
are running around. So Kyrie's a huge asset. I mean, he did, as my buddy Arjun would say, he did fold like a cheap tent on the last possession with the turnover, but for the he had an incredible fourth quarter, and this is what their second game together. So what I do find interesting about last night's game was, first off, Minnesota's like, shout out Kyle Anderson, but I liked what Jason Kidd said after the game, because Josh Green had a stupid foul at the end of the game and he didn't place the blame on him. And, Josh Green's a young guy. There's a lot of guys on this team that need to step up and expectations are big, but I'm not worried about them losing a lot of games because they're going to outscore everybody. But it does get you thinking like, all right, that's fine for now, but maybe one day that might be an issue is, if things aren't clicking. But I'm not too worried about in the regular season things clicking with this Mavericks offense.
Yeah, no, I think it's more my concern, if I had one with this team, would be playoff time.
Yeah.
When they focus in on Kyrie and Luka, and maybe force one of the guys to carry the entire load, or force everybody else but those two guys. Now, and let's talk about it. So right here, I think the Nets are a team that have definitely risen. If we're talking like risen in the power rankings of the NBA.
The Brooklyn Nets?
Did I say the Brooklyn Nets? I said
yeah.
Did I actually say the Brooklyn Nets by accident? I'm so used to Kyrie being on the Nets. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks have risen. Holy fuck.
Yeah, dude, big time.
That was a brain fart. I said it also so casually, too. But so the Dallas Mavericks, I think, do you think they've entered top 7, top 10 at least?
They're definitely around top 10, no doubt. I think probably by the end of All-Star break, I'll be saying, like, without a doubt, they'll be around 7 or 8. But as Chris Simmons is saying here, like, Anthony Edwards, Darren Fox, I mean, it's not the best defensive team in general, especially the guard position, but hopefully their hustle, is enough. I mean, they have defensive concerns. We all know that. Jason Kidd knows that, and he just says, we're going to outscore everybody. I'm not worried about defense.
Jason Kidd's a defensive coach. I mean, first off, when you look at this, the ceiling has been raised, and one might argue the floor might be lava because this wild swing might last 2 months, might last 4 years. But the pairing of these two players is bold because it improves them in the short term and can lead to a championship. But what we need to see is that on-court chemistry be built and have, Luka really trust Kyrie and the rest of the team. And it's really just establishing trust and chemistry. And if Kyrie stays on the court, there's enough time for them to build and they could fight the Sacramento Kings and the rest of the teams for the 3 seed. But what's big for me is like the other night when they lost with Kyrie. Kyrie was having a hotter night than Luka, but Luka ended up taking the last shot. I think they need to start to realize in games where maybe Kyrie has a hotter hand than Luka, Kyrie takes the final shot. It's not always Luka taking the final shot.
Yeah, it's kind of looked like what was about to happen last night before he turned it over. I mean, Luka, especially when you're coming back down from 26, guys need to make shots. Luka, not the best 3-point shooter. He made some big time shots, especially in the fourth quarter, but it was Kyrie time, no doubt.
Does that make sense? What I said though,
he's your closer.
Yeah, but they're both closers. But you have not every night they're both closers. Some nights I feel like Luka should be the closer. Whoever has the hot hand, they just need to learn. Like how LeBron used to have to delegate if he was going to pass it to Kyrie for the buzzer beaters.
Yeah, who's taking that last shot?
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be Luka. Like LeBron learns that he doesn't always.
And we've seen that. I mean, a lot of the time before Kyrie got there, who just double team. And I've seen him pass up game winners a lot of times, and it comes down to those guys making it. I think Chris brings up the bigger issue, which anytime Rudy Gobert was out there on the floor, they're just give him the ball. Just give him the ball. That's without Cat. So just give him the ball.
Now, Chris Simmons brings up a good point. Do you think they'll have problems against guards like?
Big time.
Well,
Like
it
Steph Curry and
depends.
Klay Thompson.
It depends. So here, let's pivot right here. We're continuing to talk Mavs, and I'm not gonna sit here and say if they were to bring in LaMarcus Aldridge, that would save the day. I'm not saying that
Yeah,
at
I
all.
think that'd be a horrible
I don't
decision.
think it. I mean, it depends on what they expect from LaMarcus Aldridge at this point in his career.
They don't need
But
scoring though.
I know. I
They
think
need rebounding.
LaMarcus Aldridge would be like the perfect Christian Wood backup. Christian Wood and LaMarcus Aldridge give you the same thing right now. Maybe LaMarcus Aldridge might be a little bit better under defense.
Christian Wood himself's a backup. I get it. They're last in rebounding, so I know LaMarcus with his size can give me some
brought
rebounding.
in Justin Holiday, which we'll talk about in a second.
He's 37. The guy on the screen is 37.
No, I know. But the assumption is when they play guys like an Anthony Edwards, like a De'Aaron Fox, your thought process is they would go big. Luka, Kyrie, probably like Reggie Bullock and Maxi Kleber when he's healthy, Josh Green, and I guess Dwight Powell or JaVale McGee's their best defensive center. I think that's their best defensive lineup because Maxi Kleber and Josh Green and Reggie Bullock are their three best defenders. And then you have Kyrie and Luka. I mean, that's what you got to do. Maxi Kleber center, Reggie Bullock power forward, Josh Green small forward, shooting guard and point, Luka and Kyrie. You know, that's like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna go small like they did last. Like JaVale's averaging 8 minutes this year.
That was such a bad signing.
He had 2 minutes last night, and Minnesota's a big team without one of their biggest guys. So I think they're gonna counter it by going small and force teams to try and play small against them. But I mean, Dallas I think they'll have a playoff run. It just matters. It just comes down to how far. And at the end of the day, for Dallas, the assumption is they're gonna give him a max $200 million. So it's not make or break this year. The bottom line was they needed to make a move soon to keep Luka happy, and hopefully this was the move. As far as on paper goes, this was definitely a great paper move.
So okay. They're working out LaMarcus Aldridge. He's from Dallas. He went to the University of Texas, Austin. And LaMarcus Aldridge's stats last year, for a guy who's playing 20 minutes, we know that if he goes to the Mavs, he's playing like 12 minutes a night. He's taking JaVale McGee's minutes. He's going to be a floor spacing big who can provide a little bit of passing, maybe a little bit of, rim protection, but you're really bringing him in for the locker room. He's a Dallas native. He's 15th roster spot. What do you think of LaMarcus Aldridge, 37 years old? Guy technically came out of retirement last year after having that irregular heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, this would be if anybody's gonna make a move for LaMarcus Aldridge, now would be the time because you don't want to run him for 82 games and then some playoffs. But
he said his plan always was to come back around the All-Star break. Because he didn't want to. He didn't want to play a full season.
It's kind of just like Boogie, almost as far as big men go, and he used to be a great defender in his prime, and he can still hold it down. He can still score. He can still rebound. I don't think Father Time's like right at his door, but as far as it being like a playoff altering move for Dallas, I don't think it is. This was probably something they'll address in the offseason.
But it just gives you, like, out of the big men that were available in the market, this team right now, their bigs are Dwight Powell, JaVale McGee, and Christian Wood. So, and if you guys have seen our ticketer all season, we've had every free agent that's been available on there and that we considered like the top 10 or so free agents there. It's a bunch of older guys, and LaMarcus Aldridge with Hassan Whiteside were arguably the two best bigs out there. And they're both completely different styles. Hassan Whiteside rebounding and defense, and he's very particular on what teams he would fit. Same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge. So again, I just see this as a depth chart bolstering move. Like in case if they did sign LaMarcus Aldridge, it's like in case the glass needs to be broken.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you bring up Hassan because I've heard that get sprinkled around out there before the LaMarcus Aldridge news, and It feels like an eternity ago that Hassan Whiteside was on the Utah Jazz. He's a phenomenal rim protector. He's a phenomenal rebounder, obviously, but he's a guy you can throw up lobs to. So it seems like it'll be LaMarcus, but I wouldn't. Hassan's not a. It's not a horrible thought. I know he has his flaws.
No, I agree.
LaMarcus is more well-rounded.
Yeah, so for us, I very much like this team and like watching them. And like here, so we thought the Mavs were originally signing Terrence Ross. That's what was being marketed. But what ended up happening was Terrence Ross signed with the Suns at the last minute. So they pivoted and they picked up Justin Holiday. That if you look at Justin Holiday with the Kings and the Hawks this past, last season and this past year has not been pretty. But if you look at what he was doing with the Pacers, basically for a year, he was scoring like 11 points at 38% 3-point clip and being a decent 20-minute a night 3-and-D guy off the bench. And again, I'm not saying Justin Holiday is going to be a difference maker. He's providing depth behind Josh Green, Reggie Bullock, and Theo Penson and Jaden Hardy because, with the trade of Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie, Justin Holiday just gives him another defender to shore up things. You can hit the 3-point shot. Career 36% 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I like the move a lot. Not for my fantasy team, though, with the recent addition in Josh Green.
Yeah, I want to know if none of these moves are needle movers, though, right?
No, that's what Kyrie would serve as. These are just nice complementary, fill out the depth, just like what Phoenix has planned.
Yeah, but I feel like Phoenix, because of Kevin Durant, he has that LeBron effect. You know what I mean? Where like Kevin Durant is like LeBron, that if you have Kevin Durant or LeBron and that guy asks you to come play for them,
You're licking your chops.
Yeah, like
Terrence Ross is one happy man right now.
Who would you rather have you call the phone? LeBron, Kevin Durant, or Luka Doncic / Kyrie?
Not everyone can handle the crib. the LA Lights. Luka hasn't established himself as a winner, so if I'm a veteran, I'm gonna probably pick Kevin Durant with Book and KD locked up and point general, Chris Paul and nice big boy. Sounded weird. DeAndre Ayton.
That did sound weird, bud. That wasn't right at all. All right, here let's pivot, and that was our James Johnson.
That was a needle altering move.
Yeah, James Johnson re-signing, bro. Huge move. But let's talk about a team that I think shocked a lot of people. I know the Lakers were technically
without the best scorer of all time.
Sounds like
still, it's no excuse. You got to win the game.
You got to win the game, yeah. I mean,
Dame was on fire. 30 points at halftime. I think he had 8 threes too. It looked like the record could be in play last night, and they didn't. And Phoenix or PDX throws me off. Portland's banged up too. No Jeremy Grant last night.
Matisse Thybulle started because Jeremy Grant was in concussion protocol.
Yeah, I know Matisse. Matisse had a beautiful, great game. He had also a lot of stuff you won't see on the stat sheet. He's a great hustle player.
Cam Reddish did a lot.
Cam Reddish is once his shot starts falling, I think it'll be. I know some Blazer fans were very, very skeptical of the move at first glance, especially with Josh Hart's performance last night. But I think long term, Cam Reddish. Once those shots start falling in, once he starts scoring, like you mentioned earlier, the block was nice. So Matisse just fit in like glue and
well, for weeks now I've been saying is like people forget Matisse Thybulle at the University of Washington was taking like 6 threes a night, had 2 seasons of basically 40% from 3. His worst season was like 36, 38. Like the guy can shoot. I'm just saying Philadelphia breaks people.
Yeah, it is weird because I remember talking about that and looking at Thibault stats and being like, oh, you know what? On paper, those aren't horrible 3-point statistics. Like this year, he's shooting 36% from downtown. He shot 33 but last year he shot 36. No,
I
that's
know
this year he shot 36.
I know
It's
it's
not as
limited.
bad as people think, I guess is the
I
point.
just think in
He was one of the
Philadelphia,
players.
they made him lose his confidence. And it's kind of the same thing that happened with Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish said he cried when he met Chauncey Billups because this is what Chauncey Billups said. He said, with me, you get a clean slate. I'm not the type of person that listens to the outside noise. I don't listen to what other people told me that you've done with me. Everything you do from here on out is how I'm going to judge you. I'm going to trust you and how I'm going to look at you. So he's like, I don't care about any of the outside noise. He's like, this is why I personally believe I get different people than other people because I treat people differently. I approach different. And Cam Reddish said that made him cry and that he's going to give it his all and that, finally being somewhere where he feels wanted and after the road that he's been on, he's basically being discarded by two teams in the past year. I think this is a big moment for Cam Reddish. It kind of makes you swallow your pride and put your head down and just work and do the little things that just might not even show up on the stat sheet, which I thought, tonight Matisse Thybulle had the game that we're all talking about, but I think Cam Reddish had the game that we need to acknowledge that he did make an impact.
Yeah, that's fine. I think, for both of them, a fresh start is exactly what they need, and Coach Chauncey seems like the perfect fit. It's just like Jason Kidd. It's a lot of these newer coaches who were beasts in the pro league. They have a nice player to coach relationship, and I think it really eases these younger cats' minds. Like, Thibodeau probably wasn't. He's very hard. He's a very hard man. Like, it's not. He's aggressive. I can't think of. He's brunt or brute, like whatever the word is. He's a stern, stubborn person. So I think Chauncey is a much better coach for Cam Reddish's ascension.
Yeah, no.
GM.
Does Matisse Thybulle, Cam Reddish raise the ceiling? What's up, Rockin' News? But does this raise their ceiling, or are they still, a play-in team, maybe the 6th seed?
Well, this team was very good very early on.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think we should acknowledge Shaden probably had the best game of his young career last night as well. So it could be the difference maker. It definitely could. Damian Lillard, I sent the text, Dame dollar bills, y'all, he's I don't even know if top 5 is good enough. He's playing like a top 3.
Well, I've said it all season long that when Damian Lillard has been healthy this season, he has been an MVP candidate.
Yeah, if Phoenix was a top 6 squad, he would 100% be in the MVP conversation.
You mean Portland?
He is.
You mean Portland?
Yeah. Dude, the PDX. What is going on here?
Hey, Plankton. Happy Valentine's from Kansas. Hope you're doing well in the Phoenix area. I mean, in the Philippines area, but damn it, dude, you're fucking me up. You fucked me. You just said Phoenix too. We're done. I don't know, dude. You said Phoenix. I said Phoenix
twice.
Yeah, we said Phoenix multiple times over here. I feel like a freaking idiot. All right, so let's talk about a deal that went down and almost didn't go down because of some complications, but I want to hear your thoughts right here. Was this the move the Golden State Warriors needed to make? You basically gave up on James White. I know. I was trying to. That was a climactic pause, you asshole. I wasn't forgetting his name. Okay, it was a climactic pause. You just ruined a pause. That was all theatrics. Do you know anything about the arts?
Guess not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a performance. I was performing. Okay.
Get those freaking arms, dude. What do I gotta do?
I mean, if you want those arms, you can take some creatine, or we can, head over to one of those like oiled up beaches and ask for some steroids. I have said, me and Luke have joked around. I was like, we live in Miami. I was like, let's just juice one cycle, 8 weeks, and work out like in Speedos with those bodybuilders with like baby oil on the beach. Where like all day we just make videos and then just go lift and like develop our tans. And do steroids.
Tan laundry, baby. GTO.
You know what I mean? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You just go, ugh, ugh. Just have each other lather each other up with oil. It's not gay.
Miami or LA. It's the place to do it.
Boca Raton. I actually, dude, I was looking at places. I found some dope ass like office spaces for like 1,200 and like
let's go.
Fort Lauderdale and Boca Raton areas and West Palm Beach.
Nice.
Like a couple of places were like $1,000 to $1,500 a month, like a mile or two from the beach.
Wow.
Yeah, just go record and then hop in the water.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this Gary Payton II trade. And if you guys didn't know, what almost happened was the 4-team deal between the Portland Trailblazers, the Atlanta Hawks, Detroit Pistons, the Golden State Warriors that sent Saddiq Bey to the Atlanta Hawks, James Wiseman to the Detroit Pistons, and 5 second-round picks to the Trailblazers and Kevin Knox as well, with the Warriors receiving 2 second-round picks and Gary Payton II. Gary Payton II supposedly failed the physical due to a core muscle injury that Shail Brian Sutter, MD, explained was, a core issue that like is a structural issue if he's had it surgically repaired and there's still an issue with it. And his agent and Gary Payton II have denied that he's taken Toradol, but the Warriors and the Athletic reports that the Portland Trailblazers medical staff was giving him Toradol, which is an anti-inflammatory that basically makes you feel like the bee's knees. You can play through it. Now, that's not what we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about we're not going to talk about Toradol or anything. Steph Curry used Toradol, and in trades, teams are required to disclose any injuries a player may have or not, and they are not technically required to disclose how those injuries are being treated as a result. The complaints about Toradol pills aren't going to get much traction because that's nothing wrong. Now, if you guys remember, and I made a video on this, Detroit sent Bol back to Denver last year after he flunked a physical. More famously, Oklahoma City rescinded a deadline trade for Tyson Chandler's in 2009 due to concerns of his physical and sent him back to New Orleans. And a thing almost happened with the Kyrie Isaiah Thomas trade when Cleveland discovers Thomas's hip was in worse shape than they thought, and the Celtics had to throw in an additional second-round pick. And we've even seen similar disputes between Boston and Jeff Green when Boston sent Jeff Green to Oklahoma City, and or it was vice versa. Oklahoma City sent Boston, and then he had to have a season injury. But either way, nothing was the team. The Warriors accepted Gary Payton II. We don't know if he's going to miss 2 or 3 months, like they said, or if he's just going to play through the pain. Do you think? 2 questions right here. We can talk about Saddiq Bey and the rest of the guys, but the 2 big guys are Gary Payton II and James Wiseman. Does going all in worth it? Does Gary Payton II move a needle, healthy or not? And
100%.
James Wiseman, 5 second-round picks.
Yeah, he's exactly what they needed. Wiseman, it just didn't work out. Clear as day, and you have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, so you got to make these types of moves. They wanted to hold on to Gary Payton, but because of luxury tax reasons, they couldn't. So I love the move. I don't know if he'll play this year. Either way, the situation is fishy. I was not a fan of Bob Myers' press conference yesterday.
What did he say?
He just looked like checked out almost. It's weird because I'm, a fan.
He might leave.
He probably will leave.
His contract expired with Bob Myers after the season, and they haven't given an extension.
If I had to make an assumption from yesterday, I would say 100%. He looked checked out, but it was weird because he's such a he's Batman, and he can be a little awkward, which is funny because he looks like Batman. But he was like, yeah, I viewed we didn't know he was having any issues because we played him the night before and he looked fine, and it's like, well, you should know he was injured and missed like the whole first half of the season, and he was supposed to be back at the start of the season, and it was just really weird. It's fishy. Golden State's kind of acting like a Karen, but then I know Portland had the Larry Nance situation last year. It's just it's weird because I'm like, I'm on Blazer Twitter and I'm on Warrior Twitter, and they're both kind of going at each other, and that whole situation is weird. But as far as the actual trade goes down, it was a beautiful trade, I think, for every team involved. I like Detroit. just like Marvin Bagley, you're kind of redrafting your guy, and Sadiq Bey fits into what Atlanta needs perfectly. Gary Payton's exactly what Golden State needs, and I love the trade.
I know they saved $30 million by trading James Wiseman,
It's a big dollar sign.
but does James Wiseman being traded say something about the Warriors?
What do you mean?
That maybe they're not as good at developing players as we thought they were. That maybe they got lucky.
With Mark Jackson?
Nah, but like with Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. All right.
It's hard to be perfect. I think
they were trying to trade Moses Moody too this deadline.
Well, I think that's more based on we don't have any time. They don't have any squares to spares. There's no.
What happened
time.
to the two generations, the two eras?
Well, you still have Kuminga, and you still have Moody, and you still have Ryan Rollins.
But did they give up on the two eras?
I don't. My point with Wiseman is I think they made a mistake. They could have very different players that would have been much better for their future dynasty, but James Wiseman didn't fit Warrior basketball, man. They tried it.
What if they can't develop big guys?
Well, that's fine because I have the most reliable big man in basketball, the most underrated, reliable big man in basketball named Mr. Kevon Looney. And JaMychal Green is holding the fort down. He's healthy. I can't. No one's 100% perfect. So I'm not worried about Golden State's evaluation of talent. But I can understand the skepticism for maybe this could be the last rodeo, or maybe they have 2 years max.
No, I understand that. For me, the big thing is like, they talked about this whole, there's two eras now, the young guys and the old guys. We're never going to trade the young guys. And then they were, I don't know, like I understand that you're trying to win and stuff, but
it's a business.
Yes, I get it. But
it's a business. You got to make business decisions. Sometimes you got to lay people off. James Wiseman never.
And I know that center is the easiest position to go by committee.
Especially when you got Trey. So.
All right, let's pivot right here. And I would like to do, I do this on my personal channels. Basically, this is the clip will be titled "The Best Buyout Market NBA Buyout Candidates in 2023." But right here, we're just going to go through John Hollinger. Huh? What?
Will you be titling it?
Yeah, that's what the title will be. But
I don't know how to make thumbnails on these types of clips. I will say that right now.
All you got to do is just post a picture of like Russell Westbrook in like a different jersey, or like a picture of Will Barton, and then just put NBA buyout candidates. Just put one popular player.
Just one guy.
Yeah, one guy. That's what I do. Or if you like that's for our thumbnails for the NBA show, one guy's fine. But like for the personal channel, I usually do the 3 most popular names on the list, and then I do those 3.
I did that. I tried that on this channel for the Lakers trade, and it was just like a jumbulation of
crap. Nah. For these thumbnails, just do like either Russell Westbrook, Will Barton, or or John Wall.
Yeah, probably Russ for sure.
Yeah, and then just be like NBA buyout candidates.
Question mark. Dan Bulls jersey.
All right, let's go through these NBA buyout candidates. Just because our things, like for the NBA shows, was simpler, the thumbnails. And I kind of like how after you saw the Athletics, you kind of made it like, not like at all the same, but like I like how you added the font and shit.
Yeah, fonts though. That's what I struggle with the most on every channel I have is fonts.
So do I. I struggle hard with fonts. I don't know what's the right font.
There's like 800 freaking fonts available in Fonto.
Sans serifs.
Based on fonts. It's too many.
All right. So obviously Russell Westbrook's the number one option here, but we're hearing more and more rumors that he might stay in Utah, and Utah allegedly, due to the fact that, like, this is what I think, no other team is going to give him the opportunity that Utah can, where he's going to be a starter. He's going to play 30 minutes a night. And high usage. While if he goes to the 3 other teams, the Bulls, the Heat, and the Clippers, he would be part of a point guard committee. So
why though? With who, against who?
well,
Bones
does
Highland and Goran
Miami
Dragic?
Miami would be he would
Okay,
be
Miami.
obvious. Listen. I'll give you each one. He would be in the starter for all three teams, but in Miami, he would have to split the role with Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent. And with the Bulls, you'd have to split it with Goran Dragic, Io DeSumo, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, all
Goran's
those
gone,
guys.
man. If they get Russ,
And with the Clippers, you'd have to split it with Eric Gordon, Eric Gordon, Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, Russell
that's
Westbrook.
a lot of point guard competition.
That's what I'm saying.
I get Miami. No, I was kidding. That's definitely not the case because Eric Gordon's shooting guard, Bones Highland's a bench player, and Terrence Mann is being forced to kind of play point guard. So
Swaggy, we'll get to that in a sec. But do you agree with me? Like every day that Russell Westbrook isn't bought out, I think he's staying in Utah.
I agree with you fully, and I think it's in his best interest. I think we actually talked about this last week. Stay in Utah, dude. No,
you'll
team,
rebalance
exactly
your
what you're
value.
saying. He needs money. Russ wants some money.
Was it last week with you that I said, "Are you really going to buy out and then take like a minimum contract, or are you just going to say, fuck it, I'll take the $47 million and rebuild my value to show teams I can still be efficient"?
Because if he doesn't, if he takes that vet min buyout or $5 million, whatever the hell it is,
and sucks.
What's going to happen next year? No team's giving him the high usage that Utah can, so his value is going to continue to plummet, just like it was on the bench with the Lakers, as good as the stats can appear.
And once he accepts a vet min, every team's going to be like, "Oh, you already accepted a vet min once."
Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, I don't know why Dennis Schroeder came to mind because it's nothing like that situation, but it would be the fumbling of a possible bag that you can change. Now, I get Russ wants a ring, but Russ also likes that underdog story. Like, hey, I'm going to be that guy in Utah. We got a nice compilation of players. Let's get into the playoffs.
Russ really likes his touches.
He loves his touches.
Now, let's move through this list. Reggie Jackson's already been picked up by the Nuggets, so we'll go over here. John Wall. I've said this. John Wall, he's either going to a contender like the Suns, the Miami Heat, the Bulls, or the
We'd never sign him, I wish.
Portland Trailblazers, maybe. I don't know.
You want to know where he should go?
I think he goes back to Washington.
Okay, you want to know the second place he should go if he doesn't go back to Washington?
I think Washington's his last resort, but
okay. Well, then you know where he should go? He should go to the Toronto Raptors of Toronto, Canada.
I think the most likely is Miami. He screams Miami Heat. Like, I literally picture John Wall in a Heat jersey.
He just fits in South Beach.
And like he would, and then you think about it, if you play John Wall 20 minutes a night, 20 minutes, and then you split 48 minutes between John Wall, Kyle Lowry, Gabe Vincent, gives you a little bit of everything. Gabe Vincent being the shooter, microwave, Kyle Lowry being more of a floor general with defense, while John Wall being like just John Wall. Like, he still shows he can be an efficient guy, just he has to be part of a team. We're not asking him to shoot threes, but he's a good, this season is still, his numbers are above replacement level and on a per possession basis, not far off what he did his last season in DC. So there's several guard situations around the league that he can improve, even Minnesota. Now, Pat Bev, where does Pat Bev go? I say Pat Bev goes to the Mavs, the Suns. Minnesota's
he's got issues with players on the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, okay. Minnesota said they're not going to re-sign him, and I can see him going to New York, the Knicks.
Interesting. Chicago.
He can't go back to the Lakers, so Portland.
I think he'll be a Clipper.
Clippers, maybe. I see him really at the Mavs being the place where he could get the most minutes. Same thing with John Wall. Those two guys, if they went, they would be the backup guards for John Wall. John Wall or Pat Bev would be the backups for Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic.
That's fine. At the same time, though, they're always going to stack. There'll always be one of Luka and Kyrie on the court.
Danny Green signed with I'm blanking on this,
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland Cavaliers. But you know where Dario Saric needs to go?
Oklahoma City.
No, I mean, they could keep him because they love playing small ball fives and he fits really nicely in their structure there. But can we actually talk about the perfect fit that There was a guy named by the name of Nemanja Bjelica for the Warriors last year. Guess who?
Nice.
Guess who could be the Nemanja Bjelica of this team? And I'm not saying this because they're both foreign guys, but I legit like they have very similar play styles. Darius Arch on the Warriors. Tell me that does not like. And Darius Arch is like way better than Nemanja was. Obviously, Dario has suffered worse, has had worse injuries. But do you agree after I said that? And the other team I want to say is Portland or the Mavs, or the Nuggets,
or any other contender. But yes, I like
the Warriors is the
Golden
best
State
fit.
Warriors.
The Warriors
I
would
like it.
They would love him. So these guys are considered improbable but in demand. So we're just gonna say yes, no, because most of these guys are no. Kelly Oubre, no. They have his bird rights. So why would you buy out a guy who you have his bird rights? And they're trying to be good next year. They like basically have said like this is just a transition year. We're gonna just tank for a year and regroup.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Especially because this hurts his value.
Yeah. Seth Curry, I don't see it happening. I mean, yes, I know they lost games. The only way I see it happening is if they really start losing games.
Like a 10-game losing streak.
And he demands it,
Yeah, he'd have to. All these guys, I think, would have to definitely.
Yeah, like Kevin Love. Kevin Love would have to demand it. I think they'd like Kevin Love there. And exactly. It's his last year.
Doesn't seem upset either with what's Sitch going on right now.
Goran Dragic, I only say is if they sign like Russell Westbrook or John Wall.
Yeah.
Corey Joseph is another guy if he requests it. Same thing with Thad Young. Like a lot of these guys, they would have to request it.
Yeah.
Kendrick Nunn, he's working out with the Wizards. DeAndre Jordan, only if they signed a big guy to replace Jordan, but like they brought in Bryant and they still didn't even waive him. So I think they like him. Derrick Rose said he's not asking for a buyout, so that's not happening. Will Barton, it's a matter of time. So Will Barton, at this point, I think he goes back to the Nuggets, the Trailblazers, hits up the Mavs, the Lakers, or the Suns or Clippers. Those are the teams I have. Yeah. Where do you? I feel like he's more of a guy who would go to either Minnesota, because Tim Conley's there, the Nuggets, or the Trailblazers because he has a familiarity with those three teams.
And those make sense. You know where I want him to go, though. It's the Los Angeles Lakers and the Warriors of Golden State. But yeah.
Yeah, also Golden State's a good option. I just feel like because he had a bad season, he would want to go somewhere where he's familiar with the front office and the coaching staff. Terrence Ross side with the Suns. So here's some Justin Holiday with the Mavs. Nerlens Noel. I think they would have bought him out already if they were going to buy him out. I think they're going to accept his team option and then trade him and like on the draft. Dwayne Dedman signed with the Sixers, so here we got, and Kevin Knox isn't being waived. So Terry Taylor, I see him signing with a team like maybe like the Rockets or the Spurs.
Oh, I would love that.
Because he's like this 6'5" power guard where he can play power forward, but can also be like a ball handler. Like he screams like Spurs backup for Jeremy Sohan. Or like so I could see that. Now, next up, Boban Marjanovic. Supposedly he might go back to Houston. Yeah, Houston. And then this is scraping the bottom of the barrel. Goga Bitadze signed with the Magic. Bryn Forbes, all he does is shoot threes. Johnson re-signed. Juan Toscano staying. Frank Kaminsky might stay. Same thing with Alex Lynn, Ryan Arcidio, and Svi Mikhailou. So that's basically it right there. All right. So let's talk about a guy who went off last night, and you know what is
Mitchell.
Hey. You know what's his stats so far with the Knicks are? 27 minutes a night, 19 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2.5 steals. This guy might be Mr. New York. All right. What do you think of Josh Hart?
I love it. I think I talked a lot about this yesterday. It makes so much sense. Why would I give up 3 first-round draft picks for OG Anunoby when Josh Hart can do a lot of the pretty much actually?
He's the Target store brand of OG Anunoby.
But he's not even – and Target's a good store. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a good store brand. Like,
compare him up with J.B. Brunson, my man, 40-point burger last night.
Well, if you were following, the fact that with Josh Hart last year, we saw that he could be a scorer for the Portland Trailblazers when they were tanking, and he was like a 19 points per game scorer. So I think a lot of people forgot that this year his role had changed. And it's basically Josh Hart has been put into this. Also, he's starting, right? Or is it 27 minutes off the bench?
That's a good question. He started, I believe.
Started, right? So I think so. For me, I just think you're looking at a Knicks squad that they're
Mitch is still down.
yeah, but they're a formidable front now, in my opinion. Like this is a team that definitely way scarier. Also found a way better picture, and I don't know. Like I feel like this game against the Nets, he was hitting everything, and tonight their lineup was a lineup that I really liked.
He did not start.
He did not start. Yeah, that's what I was about to start.
They're
But
still running with Jericho Sims.
But they're doing exactly what I said. He was going to be the Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett replacement because you had Emmanuel quickly come in for Grimes and Brunson, while Josh Hart can come in for Grimes and Barrett, and then you have Obi Toppin come in for Randall, and then you have Isaiah Hartenstein come in for Jericho Sims, and it works out perfect. It allows you not need to rely on Miles McBride or Evan Fournier as much. And you really have a 9-man rotation off the bench of Hart, quickly, Hartenstein, and Toppin, which each player does their own thing. And I think that's a really decent lineup. I mean, Brunson had 40, which, again, it was.
He snatched. I can't remember who he snatched.
What do you think something that this team should, does this raise their ceiling? Because I know the Knicks currently are in the standings, they are the 7th seed. They are half a game behind the Heat, who are the 6th seed. They are 2 games behind the Nets, who are the 5th seed. And they are 5.5 games behind the Cavaliers. So,
yeah, I think I think they got better for sure. Next level, I guess they're already there because of their performance last year, not making the playoffs, only 37 wins. But I think I agree fully with Swaggy here. Mitch's health is always a big question mark. And
are people really saying a bust? Is RJ Barrett really starting? We just gave him the extension.
I don't know, bust is the best word choice because he's still a 20-point per game scorer.
I think he's just underachieving this season.
He's very much underachieving. And I do think if this continues and they don't get past the second round, which I think would be very difficult for them with how top heavy the East is.
So he's stagnated. I don't think he's underachieving. I think he's stagnated. He's basically putting up the same stats as last year.
4 points last night.
I know, but I think we were all going okay, maybe last year his stats were down because he took the jump in scoring and, wasn't playing as efficient. Maybe the efficiency comes back, but really we don't need him to be a 20-point scorer. If the problem is you're putting up too many shots, man, go back to the guy you were in 2020, be that 40% 3-point shooter, 45% from the field, 6 boards, 3 assists, you know what I mean? Then play some defense.
He's only taken 1.5 more shots than that year you just mentioned. I think he
is it actually only 1.5 more field goals?
I think with him, it's I need him to score 20. This month has been especially bad, and I don't think I'm not ringing the panic bell quite yet. As Swaggy's saying, I mean, he's playing really bad right now. But I remember Donovan Mitchell had a bad week 2 weeks ago, and he just had another 40-something game. So I'm not quite at that, and I know RJ and Donovan Mitchell are completely different players, but I'm just saying if this continues, it's also not helping his trade value in the Knicks. But yeah,
I just find that it's interesting to think about because RJ Barrett, is he a guy that you could see they move? Because I feel like they have a lot of good pieces on this team that if you could move RJ Barrett for another guy, he could really help this team's ceiling.
I just said they're going to trade him. Yeah, definitely trade him.
But who? Continues. But the thing is my question when I was saying that is who do you even trade him for? Because I also think look, I don't want to say Tom Thibodeau is a bad coach. I think the problem with Tom Thibodeau is he's not a good player development. And he overplays players.
Oh yeah,
he does not let his players rest, so his players literally get drained. So I don't know. I think Thibodeau, like Tom Thibodeau, is the coach you want before you get your championship coach. He's the coach that brings you to a playoff level and installs the culture, and then you go out and get your Steve Kerr, your Jason Kidd.
Yeah, so I think right now with this situation, I'm not a huge Levine is ruining the Chicago Bulls locker room and on court chemistry. So I'm not a huge fan of Levine on a Knick roster, but it is enticing. I think it's the same thing with a lot of disgruntled either teams on their players or players themselves. Like by this time or not this time, sorry, in come summer, there will be a disgruntled star. And as soon as there's a disgruntled star, his trade value goes immediately downhill. If he asks for a trade, if he demands a trade, bang, there goes his value. Think James Harden. So I think the Knicks don't need to do anything but try and figure it out, try and make it work. And come summer, they have a nice bundle of young talent. If they want to acquire somebody like what they said, they want to acquire a star guard in return for RJ. They're probably also, because of the way RJ is playing right now, they're probably going to have to give up somebody or some assets, whether that's draft or young players as well. But I would definitely wait for the next disgruntled star. And honestly, if I had to guess, it would be Zach LaVine.
I agree that it's Zach LaVine as the only trade option. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, obviously, but like you go, who's a better fit, DeMar or Zach LaVine? Zach LaVine.
Laughing. I think what I was saying is there's always going to be a disgruntled star. Somebody will ask for a trade in the summer, so I think the Knicks should just, as they kind of have to do regardless, is just continue to.
I mean, if they want a Kristaps Porzingis reunion, maybe sign and trade RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett. Kristaps?
Yeah.
Kristaps staying in DC.
No, he's going to the Bulls, and we're also trading LaVine. We're getting rid of DeMar. We're bringing Vooch back. We're getting Freddie Double V as our point guard, and Harrison Barnes is our 3-and-D.
First off, we've talked about this relentlessly. There is no other team that can give the opportunity Kristaps Porzingis and Kyle Kuzma get from the Washington Wizards.
Chicago Bulls.
Wouldn't.
Why not?
Because Chicago wouldn't make him their franchise cornerstone. They would make him a second or third option. He would be the co-star. Right.
Well, it's not going to be Freddie Double V, and it's not going to be Harrison Barnes. It's not going to be Lonzo Ball because he can't step on the floor. It's not going to be Nikola Vucevic. So to me, has to be.
I'm telling you, the opportunity that Kristaps and Kyle Kuzma have in DC, where you want to be wanted, where like they're willing to pay you. I know, but it's just you have. Yeah, I know Bulls Central. Swaggy. I just think it's a really good opportunity they have in DC that it goes like the bobblehead night. It's like it goes, no one else is going to give them the marketing, the franchise cornerstone, make them untouchable.
I will. I'll do all these things.
DC is just a better fit for them. It's better. It gives them all the opportunities like right now. But the only way I see Kristaps leaving is he somehow traded to a contender. But I doubt that. He said it that he said he's always regretted how he left New York. And he really just wants to be somewhere where he's wanted. And same thing with Kyle Kuzma. They both said we want to be somewhere where we wanted. And they talk about how much they love playing in Washington, D.C. and how much they love playing with Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps and Bradley Beal. Like they all three love playing with each other. And
exactly, yeah. So bring both of them. Sorry, Brad, but bring both of them to Chicago, the Windy City. We'll treat you well. You'll enjoy it, and you'll be our franchise cornerstone.
No, we got to keep. The Wizards got to keep the core of Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma, and Beal together. So when in a year, when Kevin Durant demands a trade from the Suns, he just says, "Fuck it, I'm finally coming home." And we have
as much as the Washington propaganda train I've been jumping on board recently. There's just no way all three of those are back in a Wizard uniform.
They are.
I'll give you $10.
No, you'll have to go suck a random man's cock if that happens.
It's just super gay. So
that was actually
$10 though.
Yeah, I'll give you $10.
I'll buy you lunch the first time I see you. How's that? Actually,
yeah, that's good.
This won't even happen before. This is. Oh wait. No, off season.
By the way, announcement, I got into the University of Miami. Your boy is moving to Miami-Dade County in August. Boca Raton, it looks like right now from talking with.
You should
Jackson
watch
here.
the 30 for 30 to get yourself hyped up.
Of Miami, Catholics
Yeah,
versus convicts.
the best one. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a really good one. Yeah, you've heard my Lou Holtz.
I love the Wolves. Yeah. We've done this before. Yeah, we've done this before.
The University of Notre Dame's gonna have a good football team. You know they're gonna damn the bit down, get down. That has I love the University of Notre Dame football. It's like borderline, like I think it's either really good or really offensive.
I was not gonna get there. I was gonna say I could say something, but I'm gonna go no comment on here. But I think that says what's left unsaid as far as that question goes.
Yo, I love me some Mateo.
Oh,
Like, I wish he was a Catholic though, because he was a Mormon.
yeah, my
But
poor Mormon brother. I'm not Mormon.
yeah, I know. But you went to Southern Utah.
Yeah.
Did they all just have sex with each other?
There's very little. I think I've said this on the show. The first night I got into in my house was we went over to our neighbors and there was like a bunch of girls and one of the girls put rules on the fridge and one of them was like quiet after 10, no boys past dinner. It was like super really funny. Not for the girls though. It's probably sucked. Probably a long year for them.
So oh yeah, you talked about it. Luka was trying to get him a shot. I'm going through right now the headlines to see if there's things to talk about. My father just texted me. My dad's friend, my dad just texted me. Bradley Beal chipped his tooth during the game.
Yeah. And
that looks off.
Out for 2 months, which really sucks because I need him on my team.
Breaking news, guys. The NBA might be back on NBC like in the 90s. You know, like how everyone talks about like back in the days of Jordan, it's like NBC ran. So the NBA on NBC may be returning if NBC Sports gets its way. Comcast, NBC Universal is preparing to make a very strong bid to win back the National Basketball Association broadcast rights after, the company lost them to Disney and Turner Sports. We're hearing that Disney, aka ESPN, doesn't really want to pay for the NBA. And we know that Apple and Amazon are they don't want a traditional broadcast rights. Basically, Amazon and Apple are like, hey, can we basically have every game on Apple and Amazon for like an exclusive streaming package, how they do like NFL Sunday Ticket? Yeah. Basically, like if you pay for Amazon or Apple, you get League Pass on there, Yeah. But obviously the NBA is still like, hey, we know there's like 100 million people who still watch cable. So they're like hitting up like somebody because they're selling two separate rights. They're selling the exclusive streaming rights, and then they're still selling the cable rights, but no more local regional TV networks like Bally Sports. It would just be like NBC, and then it'd be on Amazon or Apple, like how the MLS and MLB do now. So obviously this isn't very interesting for some people, but for people who are older, and I know like my personal channel, I know this channel, if you look at the analytics, a lot of people who watch our stuff is between the ages of 25 and 50. So you are grown ass adults where this is actually what you want to know. Should I continue to have cable? Will that be the best way to watch as many basketball games? Or should I just cut cable completely and just, pay for Apple TV or, Amazon Prime with like whatever they offer, So this is actually big news right here that obviously, as someone, I think it'd be better if we can get that Apple Amazon deal where we can just, instead of paying League Pass, I just pay Apple like an additional price and I just fucking get everything on Apple TV.
Yeah, who owns YouTube?
It's Google.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering because I got YouTube TV like 2 days ago and they have League Pass on it, but you have to pay for it.
No. So I think YouTube TV when it comes to streaming rights, it's its whole own thing. I know they just got so YouTube TV is basically cable without a box. It's just an app.
I love it so much.
No, it's very nice. I have many friends with YouTube TV, but Rocket News, I do watch college basketball when I'm watching NBA prospects. Plus Luke, who comes on the show, he's obsessed with basketball. So a lot of times when he comes over to my house, I have two TVs in my living room. We have NBA on one TV and we have college basketball on the other TV. Plus, college basketball goes on later in the night because of the West Coast schools. So usually when it's 2 a.m, we're watching like, we're watching like a Fresno State play like fucking San Jose. You know,
I did that. I used to do that with football.
so we'll be. So I do watch it. I'm not. I usually pay attention more to college basketball for my draft prospects, and that's Anthony Davis has. Anthony Davis has deactivated his Instagram.
Why can't I think of the LeBron Zero Watch 23? What is the Dark Knight 23? What is?
I have no idea what you're referencing.
That Marine Corps thing that LeBron does every year. He deactivates social media. It's Zero Dark 30. Zero Dark 23, I think is what it is.
I did not know. I need to start getting into Miami sports. I'm part of the Canes family. I actually also have to send them me accepting it. They also do. I had spent the last week emailing the shit out of the graduate department because I was fucking pissed. They hadn't sent me shit. I didn't have anything. So I've been sending emails all the time. And she sent me an email yesterday early in the morning going like, hey, you should hear your response in a week. 2 hours later, they sent me my response getting accepted.
Oh, nice.
I also I'm gonna go see my coworker who's from Bradenton, or he's from like the Tampa area, and I told him I applied to Miami, and it was like the first day we ever hung out at work, and he kind of gave me that like, that's cool, like like you're not gonna get in. Basically, he told me like the way he responded, that's cool. It was like good luck getting in, like he didn't believe I was gonna get in. And I like kind of responded. I was like, oh, well, like, like I have pretty good grades. And like, basically they wrote in my acceptance letter was like, we're blown away with your portfolio. Like I basically on my portfolio, every school I put my YouTube channel on there, and like everything I've written, they all, guys, if you want to go to graduate school and you have a YouTube channel, just put it out there. I don't know why, but grad schools love people with YouTube channels. They're like sucked off that you do your own thing.
Yeah. You're also a Latino Sephardic Jew, a YouTuber, a part-time reporter, a broadcast news journalism student
who was expelled and parents escaped from a guerrilla warfare.
Foreign parents.
Yeah. So I'm like the greatest affirmative action diversity guided hire of all time.
The prodigy child.
Like for the Southern people, they look at me and they're like, they ain't gonna go there. They're like, this ain't a jihad on the screen, but he ain't no Mexican. He's just some weird ass Italian looking, European fuck. That's what I think. You see my name, Cyro Asseo, you ain't going like, damn, he from Mexico. He just ran over the border. But they're not also going like, he ain't strapping bombs against his chest. And I know he ain't yelling Allah Akbar or Salam Alaikum and blowing up some square. Like, well, I'm serious. When I shave, I look like the Boston Bomber. Okay.
I don't know what the fucking Boston Bomber looks like.
You've never seen what when I shave, I don't shave anymore because all my friends back home would call me the Boston Bomber. And like whenever I tell people I look like the Boston, you've never seen it.
Big East Coast joke.
I mean, it's not as funny anymore because like it's not relevant, but
oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, it's fucked, bro. I look like the Boston Bomber.
You have an alibi for that day?
Yes, dude. Oh, so many people make jokes. They're like, I'll be with my friends. They got the wrong guy. They got the wrong guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's scary how much we look alike. Okay, let's get into Pirtle today. Oh, is this Ben Simmons? That's Ben Simmons, right?
No.
That was Ben fucking Simmons. I've never seen Ben Simmons be Ben Simmons before like that. All right. I think we did a good today's show.
Yesterday, it took me to that last guess to get it.
Did you? Who was it?
I was freaking out. Well, you want to guess? It was a Houston Rocket guard, 6'6", over the age of 33. And I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck is this?
Was he recently
and there's seven
traded?
People. There were seven.
Was he recently traded? Was he recently traded?
Well, yeah. So it was Danny Green, but I'm like, Danny Green's a Cleveland Cavalier. He's not a Houston Rocket.
They hadn't updated it.
No, it took me all 8 tries to figure that out. Or I think it was the 7th one. Yeah, I was like, this isn't Danny Green, but I'm gonna go Danny Green here because he's a Rocket. And
I would have been outraged. I would have been outraged. If you had gotten that wrong, I would have said that would have been nulled and voided because that shouldn't have counted.
I was saying on the stream because there were 7 people in here and no one was commenting, and I was sitting here suffering for 10 minutes on Pirtle, and I knew it was a Rocket, and I'm like, if this is or I didn't know it was a Rocket, but he was in the Southwest, and I had done like every team. I was like, if this is actually Houston Rocket, I'll make 3 videos of Rocket content every day for the rest of my life. That's like 40,000 videos or something like that. And thankfully, Danny Green's not a Rocket, so it worked out. So yeah,
That's fucked.
Yeah.
That's so fucked, dude. We would have been fucked if I was there. All right, guys, that was today's show. I am sorry. I do want to say apology. Friday and Monday. Monday, I was just hungover from the Super Bowl, so that just got me fucked. I was just hungover. I went out, but Friday, I stayed up late. I've been good with times, and I screwed this man over. We have over the past week 2 episodes that he had to do solo. This man is the real MVP.
And they killed it.
And they killed it. Carried
I've
the
turned the corner on
franchise.
those solo streams.
Yeah,
It's
so
like the good old days.
And for
I don't
anything,
mind it.
this guy is the true man. He's the one who's putting in all the work, gives all the love. A great person over here, Jackson. All right.
I forgot about how long. I forgot power rankings take 45 minutes if you go fast.
Dude, if you go fast,
yesterday.
we have learned that when we do our lists, we just gotta blaze through them as quick as possible, because even when we think we're going quick, we're not going quick.
Yeah.
So that's what we've learned. But
think about it. If you do 2 minutes for all 30 teams, that's an hour.
That's an hour. Yeah. You have to do like 30 seconds for every team, and then it's like maybe worth it. But before we go, check out these office spaces. I was looking. They're not bad priced. We do like the ones here are like only $350 a month.
Whoa.
And these are $550 if you want to go in like furnished offices.
Damn.
Yeah. Not bad, right?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Like, end up in a place like this. Like, we don't, to start out, we don't need much room. Obviously, just a couple doors, like 1 for the studio and then 2 like private recording areas.
Yeah.
Because all we got to do is buy like the foam and shit, because we'll put like in all the rooms, we'll cover the walls with like foam to soundproof them.
I've always wanted soundproofed room.
And then we'll like obviously hang shit over the foam so it doesn't look like we're just sitting in a foam room.
Yeah. We'll get some basketball shit up.
For a table, all we got to do is buy those like white foldable beer pong tables, and then just put like a sheet over it, or like buy like make like banners and like just stick a banner to the front of it, and just make it look official.
Yeah.
But it's all possible. We got 6 months.
What's the old ball and chain? Think about it.
She's down. She's just waiting to hear. She already got into Charleston. She's waiting to hear back from Nova, Miami, and Stetson.
Nova. Jeez.
Southeastern Nova.
Oh.
It's a school in Fort Lauderdale. Private school.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. All right, boys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Any last words, Jackson, for the group, the ladies and gentlemen watching?
Blow it up, Bulls.
Just wave everyone on a buyout.
Everybody just move. Relocate.
Just kill the team. See ya.